beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a marvelous feeling that on this last Sunday of July 2024, everything, yes, I mean everything, whether you know it or not, is going your way. Welcome to the Voice of Hope Connection. I'm your host, D. Foster III, CEO and President of Wake Up Global Networks International, and I am so glad that you decided to join us this morning. There is a word for you to make it through the week. But you know the spiel. Before we get started, like, share, subscribe, follow, go into your contacts and share this video. I believe it's going to be a blessing. Speaking about being a blessing, I want to give a shout out to Veronica Tucker Scott for showing up and showing out last week on the Voice of Hope Connection. What a word, what a word. I want to say thank you, woman of God. You blessed us. You gave us encouragement. And if you have not seen it, go and join the Replay Club. Shout out to all the Replay Club. And I know that you will be blessed. Listen, before we get started, I want to say thank you for joining us every Sunday morning at this time. I encourage you, if you have not, to go and to listen to the Voice Over Today audio podcast from this past Wednesday. Oh yeah, I dealt with some stuff. I'm back in the saddle now that we have appropriately honored the legacy of my big brother, Coach James Butch McAdams. I'm back with the content. And then, did you view the Voice Over Now podcast from Friday? Yeah, I was interviewed. And you know, Fridays, people get off from work. They want to relax. They want to chill. So they may go to a happy hour. And sometimes they say straight, no chaser. That's the way we do it every Friday right here on WPBMediaNetworks.com with the Voice Over Now podcast. I was interviewed and I kept it real. You gotta go see that interview from Friday. Join us on next Wednesday. Got great content. Next Friday, great content. And we keep it coming and coming and coming. Listen, I encourage you to go to our social media websites if you want to keep up with what we're doing. On IG, it's Wake Up Global Media. Wake Up Global Media. On X, it's WGNINC. On TikTok, it's The Voice Over Pod. And on Facebook, it's Wake Up Global Networks. All of those, you can find out what we're doing as we're gearing up for a tremendous fall. Did you see the prophetic word by Prophet John Lewis? Yes, all of our tribe saw that, and we intend to stick to it. That's why I played that, so that you can understand what Wake Up Global Networks is all about and what our mission is all about. I'll email thevoiceovertheglobe@gmail.com, thevoiceovertheglobe@gmail.com. Wow, how time has fly. It's almost the 1st of August. Listen, I want to remind you something. I've always had the mantra that move in silence. Matter of fact, I have a shirt that says move in silence and let your works speak for you. Now, as I always tell you each and every week, we hope for the best. We hope that the week will go smooth, but because life is so unpredictable, we don't know how everything is going to play out. But one thing that we do know is that regardless of what happens in our life, there is a word to get us through. Now, you know, we live in a world where there's a lot of noise, a lot of noise with technology, with traffic, with computers, especially with people. And a lot of people think that making a lot of noise is productivity, making a lot of noise. And so, you know, a lot of people, they do a lot of talking, but very little results. And so we get used of the noise. We think the noise means movement. We think the noise, the talk means movement. But can I tell you, that's not always how God operates? As a matter of fact, I want to encourage you that most of the time when God is moving for you, God is moving behind the scenes and in silence. So I want to encourage you this week, no matter what you face, don't ever underestimate the silence of God. God is not like people. God doesn't always speak. God always moves. You remember in the book of Kings with the prophet, and there was a thunder and God wasn't in it. There was a loud shaking. God wasn't in it. But God ended up speaking to the prophet in what's called a still small inner voice. That's the way God does it. He moves in silence. He's always behind the scenes working, and so that you and I won't mess up the plan, he doesn't always tell us what he does. So just because you don't have all the info or all the intelligence of all the op, it does not mean that God is motionless. Get out of looking for motion and hearing noise to think something has happened. The best movements, the best maneuvers happen in silence, where nobody is looking. And so as you go into this week and things begin to happen unpredictable and people begin to approach you and challenge you and things happen that you didn't plan on, I don't want you to be discouraged because you don't always see a lot of noise from God, that you don't see God removing them, that you don't see God's finger. And I got to see God's finger. But you have to have the faith to know that regardless of what's going on, because God is in you, God chose you, God loves you, that God is always. I know you don't see it, you don't hear it. We're used to these five senses, but God is always. Right now, some of you going through predicaments, some of you going through hardships, some of you being tried in your finances, some of you being tried in your relationships, on your jobs. Some things are getting on your nerves, and you say, God, you got to do something. Can I tell you that he's already doing something? You just don't know about it. This is where the spirit of faith comes in. That even though I don't see, here it is right here, even though I can't trace his hand, I can trust his heart. That's right. I trust his heart that he loves me. I trust his heart that he has my best interest in mind. I trust his heart that I can't see his hand, but I know when it comes to D. Foster 3, he loves me and he's always working on my behalf. See, God doesn't play checkers. God plays chess. God doesn't make little moves. God makes big moves. And when it's time for you and I to find out what he's up to, he'll reveal it. I just want you to know, as you go through the week, rule out the noise. Stop looking for the earthquake. Stop looking for the great big sounds. But there's a still small movement on the inside of you that lets you know God is working on my behalf. Until next week, I want you to stay encouraged. I want you to stay faithful. In other words, full of faith, that no matter what they're trying to do to you, who's coming up against you, how the enemy is moving, or how the enemy in you and I are moving, that God is moving also, but moving in silence. Until next Sunday, this is D. Foster 3, reminding you that there is hope. Let's stay connected to it. Peace, God bless, and a fruitful week.